Hi, this is Melissa Daniels with Strabismus to Stereopsis, and today I want to talk about a super important secret for success that is going to give you that long-term result and that functional vision that's going to last over time when you have strabismus and you're doing vision therapy. Before jumping into that, be sure to go over to learn.strabismussolutions.com if you want to take advantage of some of the resources that I have. You can find that link in the description and learn a lot more about what I offer. You've probably experienced times when you are able to use your eyes together. Maybe when you're looking in the mirror, you can make your eyes go straight, or you've been doing a vision therapy exercise and you're able to see depth and you're like, I've got it. I'm doing it. I'm using both eyes. But then you walk out of the office and go get your picture taken and your eye is off, or you're trying to drive and you can tell that you don't have good depth perception. And so there's this mismatch between what you're able to do in the office or while you're doing an eye exercise versus what you're able to do functionally in your everyday life. So the question is, what makes that functional difference, and how do we take what we're learning in the office and make it apply to our everyday life? There is a famous optometrist named W.C. Maples, and his catchphrase is start where they are and go where they ain't. The idea is that you as a patient are at this place where you can align your eyes when you look in the mirror, or you can see depth on an eye exercise. But that's not really what your goal is, right? Your goal is that when you're getting a picture taken or having a conversation with somebody, your eyes stay straight, right? Without you looking in the mirror and doing that on purpose. Or maybe your goal is to be able to hit the ball in tennis or to drive at night without losing that depth perception, right? So what you have to do is you have to figure out, where are you at right now? And then what are some baby steps I can take to make it more like what the real thing is going to be? And this is where the secret weapon comes in, and it is almost always movement. Some sort of movement, whether you're moving your head or your body, you're turning, whether you're moving the object that you're looking at, it's usually linked somehow to movement or some sort of like cognitive load. So like you're having to think really hard. And I know for me, I'm like, oh, think. And my eye just stops working. Mine doesn't go out, but it shuts off when I'm really stressed or like thinking really hard about something. So this video, we're going to talk about adding movement to vision therapy exercises. There's other things that we can do, but that's what we're going to focus on. Movement is so related to vision and integrated, and we want to make sure that those things you are integrating two-eyed seeing, that binocular vision, with movement, right? Because right now your body thinks, I'm moving, I use one eye, and that's kind of how you're integrated right now. And so even if you're using two eyes, you're learning to use two eyes in vision therapy, you haven't necessarily integrated that with movement. And so you have to put those two things together if you want it to really last long term. We are going to take a look at a couple different examples to kind of help illustrate what this would look like. So let's talk tennis. I love to play tennis. Some of the things that I've experienced before and after vision therapy with tennis are, it was always really difficult to keep my eye on the ball. Now that I'm able to, that's integrated with both eyes, it's almost like I can slow the ball down in space and I can see that depth and the space changing as the ball moves through it, right? And tennis is definitely something where there's a ton of movement. So that didn't happen all at once. The first step might be that I would hold a tennis ball in my hand, or the Marsden ball, which is the ball on a string that you see all the time at vision therapy offices, is just have it holding completely still. And can I look at that and see one ball? Okay. Then we might move it just tiny bits back and forth, forward and back. Can I still keep both eyes on that ball while it's moving? Right? Or can the ball be still and can I move slightly and keep both eyes on that ball the whole time? So that's like start where you are, right? That's like the basic level. For me, I was always not quite sure if I was using both eyes or not because I didn't really get double vision too much. I just would shut down one eye. And so I wasn't always sure. And so one thing that we did is we put on red and green glasses and I looked at a white ball. So when I saw it as red and when I saw it as green, and if I was getting fusion, it was like a mixture, something called luster, where it's like kind of orangey. And that's how I knew both eyes were working. So I would lay on my back and watch the ball moving and try to keep both eyes on with that ball moving. All right, so that's kind of like a basic level. We're not We're not to tennis yet, right? But we have to start with that movement, start with making sure both eyes can stay on while looking at something that's holding still, while I'm holding still. And then we start adding in that movement. Another thing that you might add is doing some different footwork drills while looking at this ball, and maybe having the ball go faster, moving across a larger space while doing different like crossover drills that you might do in tennis. You might hold a tennis racket and slowly tap that Marsden ball. It's going to be moving a lot more slowly than it would in a tennis match. One thing that I did that really helped is I actually went out onto a tennis court, and my husband was very aware that this was a struggle for me, and using both eyes to see the ball. And it got to the point where I could tell a difference in the depth when I knew both eyes were really working. I had my peripheral engaged. I could see the space the ball was moving through. And he would kind of just toss me balls, not even hit them, but I could do that and really slow things down, take a lot of time in between, and process that space. So it's all about slowing down and then slowly speeding up to the point where I can play tennis now. I don't have to think about it a lot, but sometimes I'll whiff and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I'm like getting really tired and I'm shutting down. So I take a second, regroup, open my periphery, and that seems to help. But how do you get there? You have to do all those little baby steps in between. It's not going to just happen. If you can look at a ball and keep it single while you're sitting in a chair, like that's not going to transfer to the tennis court. Another example that I think a lot of people struggle with is driving. We struggle, especially at night. It's hard to judge distances. Where are the lights? The lights are in your eyes. It's really bright. It's really difficult. And so how do you take all of these eye exercises that you do in vision therapy and apply it to driving? For me, it looks like, okay, what are the parts that are hard? I can do okay when I'm looking forward, but when I look to the side, sometimes I see double. When I look to the side, I see double. This is a big problem. We want to see single when we're driving, right? Because that is super dangerous to see double. Another thing is when the light is really low, it's harder for me to keep both eyes engaged. It's just, there's not as many cues that are monocular, like the shadows. All of these things that I've always used to judge space are gone, and I have to have both eyes really locked in. How do you bridge the gap between not being able to do any of that to driving with your vision therapy exercises? One example, a lot of vision therapy involves looking from near to far. So you look at a faraway chart and it might be decoding something or just reading letters off a little chart in front of you and then a faraway one. There's lots of near-far type exercises. Well, for driving, you're not usually looking straight ahead and back. I mean, you are, but there's a lot of switching focus and moving your eyes around. So instead of just having a chart in front of you, you might also put a chart to the left and another chart to the right and alternate. You're going to look to the left, write something down. Look forward, write something down. Look to the right, write something down, right? So you're getting that looking left, right, and can you keep that gaze? Another example might be taking vectograms, and I did this in vision therapy, where you have one to this side, one in front of you, and one to the right, and you're looking, getting fusion on the one on the left, getting fusion in the front, getting fusion on the side, and making sure that you can get that fusion with those quick movements where you lose and you have to regain the fusion. Those are going to help with that looking over your shoulder and that driving, that double vision. With the low light and being able to judge depth there, doing some exercises when it's not as bright and still trying to maintain that depth perception. One way that I've done this is I have an LED light strip and I use it as a Brock string in a dark room, and I can change the focus of my eyes as I look through space. You can literally apply this anywhere in your life, but the big idea is that you need to figure out where can you have success with the exercise and then start adding movement. You want to be moving your body and you want to be moving the exercise as you're going. Otherwise, it's never going to apply in your actual life. You're never going to actually carry that skill with you because you're almost always in motion. There are very few times where we're actually staying still. So you need to be moving while you do these eye exercises in order to fully integrate that. That is your big secret for success. If you want to talk about some of the exercises that you are currently working on and how you could potentially bridge that gap and start adding movement to what you are doing, I would love to help you. You can schedule a Zoom call with me over at learn.strabismussolutions.com. So I'll see you then.